Thank you again, Risers, for joining me. And I am the Black Renegade Rising. I am simply a maven looking for my haven on the continent. In my previous episode, I discussed the peril in which black girls in America live in peril and the damaging effects of racism on those souls. Today, I'm going to focus on the peril that black boys in America face. And this doesn't just only apply to America, it does apply to most Western world countries in which we reside. In future episodes, I will also discuss the peril in which black women and men face. And again, I just want to mention that black bodies are under attack from threats both foreign and domestic, as well as anti-blackness is everywhere. It's global. It has no end, and it is very real. For those who may question these things, it's very real. And with that, let me just give you some stats to go forward and discuss the peril in which black boys face. And again, these are just some of the stats. These are not all. As we all know, racism, peril, living in precarious situations, and the nature of systemic racism, the culture of racism, it's all like the old cotton commercials of the 90s, the touch to feel of cotton, the fabric of our lives. That's racism. Structural racism, systemic racism, the view that most Americans hold when it comes down to racism towards African Americans, black bodies. It's literally woven into the fabric of our lives, and it is in the fabric of the lives of the citizens and residents of this nation. And it has been since this country's inception and well before it, and probably well after it. So let me just get started on some of the stats in reference to how black boys are treated in this country. Most of the stats I'm going to be using are based on the school experience. A 2014 study states that teachers in particular, educators, administrators viewed black boys as young as 10 as being older and less innocent. Let that sink in for a moment. Why is that a problem? Well, when you're 10, for example, you don't have the wisdom, usually, of a 25-year-old or of a 30-year-old. But it appears that society and teachers and administrators and those individuals who are making those decisions that will impact your life, not just that day, but going forward, see you as a threat. They see you as being more cunning, conniving, knowing more than you actually do, and therefore, instead of providing you the aid, the educational instruction, the nurturing environment you deserve, they are penalizing you and figuring out if and when they can call the police and get them involved. Again, hence that school to prison pipeline. Black boys are 3 times as likely to be suspended as their white boy counterparts. And what that means is that, and again, it's all things being equal, and again, it's for children experiencing and displaying the exact same behaviors. We're not talking about black boys who are doing something actually menacing. We are simply talking about black boys exhibiting the same exact behaviors as their white male counterparts, but they are the ones who are 3 times as likely to be suspended as their white male counterparts. As well as 13% of black boys at this moment in time supposedly go on to earn a bachelor's degree, meaning they go on to graduate from high school and they actually enter a 4-year college and they actually graduate from one. Black boys are also disciplined more harshly. Again, that has to do with the fact that they are not seen as kids. They're seen as more culpable, and the penalties that they face tend to be harsh. Black boys represent 18% of the preschool population. However, they represent almost half of all the children suspended, or half of all suspensions. And again, if you watch my previous episode or video segment, you'll know that black girls are actually the other half of that equation. They're suspended at a rate of about 54%. So again, let that sink in. We're talking about children who are 3, 4, and 5 years old, K through 12 public school system, but yet they are already being suspended at an alarming rate. So they're already setting them up to be the perpetrators. They're already setting them up to be seen as the aggressors. They're setting them up for being seen as being more violent. They're already setting them up for all of these negative things that will not just impact them that day and that year, but will impact them throughout their lives. As well as black boys as young as age 5 are seen as, get this, more violent, dangerous, hostile, and aggressive. Man, they just won't let up, will they? And pushing children out of the classroom, be it in suspensions, out of school suspensions, actually increases their rate of having an encounter with the actual criminal justice system. And maybe that again is the plan and the goal all along, hence the school to prison pipeline. I just want you to think about those things. Your children, your babies, they don't even stand a chance, and they're only 3, 4, and 5 years old. They haven't even made it into public school, and they're already being suspended. They're already being considered aggressive. They're already being considered behavioral problems. And another thing that I forgot to mention that I thought was a really great little point is that black boys are seen as being just as gifted as other students. However, instead of being recommended for gifted and talented programs, they're actually recommended to, special education. Sean Combs, Puff Diddy, aka Puff Diddy, was actually also in special education programs in the public school system, and look at him now. I'm not saying that's necessarily the best example, but really, it's just showing you that when our kids are gifted, they are still seen as being menacing. They're seen as being a problem. They're seen as something or a situation that needs to be resolved or dealt with. Again, this is why I mentioned you should go ahead and look at your exit plan, get your babies out of here, keep them safe, and the best way to do it is the continent. You don't have to go to the continent, like I mentioned before. Asia, Latin America, and even certain parts of Europe are even more desirable. But again, the continent is a great place where there are a number of opportunities that cannot be passed up. And again, I will be talking about those in future videos as well. Again, this is the Black Renegade Rising. I am simply a maven looking for my haven on the continent. And thank you so much. Go ahead and smash that like button and subscribe. And there is definitely more to come on the peril of black bodies in this nation and other nations like this. Again, thank you so much for your time.